Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back. I'm so honored to be circling up with you today, as well as an old friend. Cynthia Medina is a life and health coach and energy practitioner. We go back, way back to 2010 when I published her story in our first book. So we've been connected for a long time. I am so excited that she is circling up with us today. Cynthia has been dedicated to the emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being of women for over 20 years. She intuitively combines her knowledge and training in Ayurveda, Naturopathy, meditation, NLP, Reiki, hypnosis, and many other modalities to support women to break through the emotional and energetic blocks to living their best lives. Welcome, Cynthia.
Oh, Linda, thanks for having me. It's such an honor to be here.
We're talking about an important subject that I know everybody's going to start nodding their head, and it's about mindfulness practices for busy women, right? And we're going to talk about why it's important and all of your other insights and strategies to help us be present in our own life, because we've become pretty disconnected, haven't we?
Yeah, there's a lot of anxiety in the world today, isn't there?
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because you believe that we have to create space in our own lives so that we can be present in our lives. And I love your teachings because you do it in a way that brings mindfulness practice into our lives, but easily and effortlessly as part of our day instead of another to-do on a long to-do list. So let's talk about that for a moment. Why is it so important that we create space for mindfulness in our day?
Yeah, well, we now know that, that anxiety is really bad for our health, right? And we were not designed to have the levels of anxiety that people are experiencing long term in this world. And, you know, um, as women, as busy women, a lot is on our plate more than ever in these days. And, I think it's just really important that we stay focused, for the health of our body, for the health of our mind. We need to stay focused on the now, the moment, the beauty of the moment, because a lot of anxiety happens when we're living in the past or we're fearing the future. And so just bringing everything in our awareness and our love into the present moment and just being the observer and really fully enjoying what we're doing at every given time just relaxes our nervous system and our brains and just makes life very delicious.
In one of the things too, for years, I was really confused between what mindfulness meant and what meditation meant. So if anyone
Yeah.
else is confused, could you explain the two?
Yeah. So meditation is really kind of getting control of our thoughts, right? And I hear a lot of people have a lot of trouble meditating, just having to sit down and sit still. This is the way that they view it, right? Sitting still and getting control of those thoughts can be really challenging. And mindfulness is really just about bringing our awareness to the present moment and being an observer and being able to just observe what is going on around us and within us without any judgment. Just being, aware, bringing that awareness to what's happening in the moment, in the now.
And what I'm hearing is with mindfulness, we can do that anywhere, anytime. We can get in our car, put the seatbelt on, and before we start the ignition, go, am I fully present? Am I here? Because we do a lot of things on autopilot, and I used to for many years. And then it's kind of like when we drive, right? And we go, I don't even remember driving here. We're not even aware or present, but that's an example, right? We live on autopilot. And so your invitation is for all busy women to say, be present in your life. Are you here now? So what are some of the ways we can incorporate it into our daily life, especially for those who are listening, who are like, I don't even know where to begin?
Yeah, it's so simple. Just take brushing your teeth in the morning. How many of us get up and we're brushing our teeth really fast and we're thinking about, I got to get in there and make the coffee. And oh my gosh, I got to get to work and I got a meeting at this time, or, and we're not even recognizing that we're brushing our teeth. We're just going through the motions. And that's a busy brain. That's a brain that is just really hot and, very busy. And what we want to do is bring it back to the moment and feel what it feels like to brush our teeth. In that moment with the toothbrush, feel every tooth that you're brushing. How do the bristles feel? How does the toothpaste taste? How does your teeth feel going from a little dirty from getting up in the, from bed at night to the clean feeling that you feel now that you've brushed them, rinsing your mouth, and just getting fully present on that process. Because, when we're in that moment, we're a lot more calm. Our nervous system is a lot more calm. Then you can go on to the next step. And when you're making the coffee or the tea, you're really aware of, the coffee grounds going into the pot and, how it feels to scoop them in there, and the smell, the first aroma of coffee coming out. This is a gift we give ourselves, Linda. We should be able to enjoy every single moment of our lives. And sometimes our brains hijack those moments from us. And so it's just becoming aware and bringing, all of that awareness back to the moment, feeling all of it through our senses, and giving ourselves that precious gift. And it will definitely pay off in our health and well-being.
One of the things that really, as you were talking about brushing the teeth and the coffee, and then you just mentioned it now, is the senses. So it's really like, what am I seeing? What am I feeling? What am I tasting? Because to answer any of those questions, you have to be here now, right? So that's what was resonating, because I've been one of those, like, oh my God, I got to get my teeth done. So I'm already on the list of the 5 things ahead. I've been guilty of that. So I love that example, because it's like, okay, Lynn, let's try this tomorrow,
And when you're having your coffee, like sitting out on your back porch and listening to the sound of the birds, smelling the wonderful aroma of the coffee coming out of the cup, and then just feeling the warmth go down your throat, rather than being on your phone and trying to catch up with everything and be in a hurry, just really, being fully present with nature and what's happening in this moment.
Yeah, that's so important, because I think of it this way as we are never going to get these moments back. So why wouldn't we want to be present and live fully in the moment, instead of, as you said at the beginning, giving our power and awareness to the past, which means we're not here now, or to worrying about the future. And as someone that suffered with extreme anxiety and depression the first 35 years of my life, I know that feeling, and I know this feeling, and I want this feeling for everyone. Being present in my life, feeling the ability to feel joy, to hold space for others, right? And that's why you're so dedicated to teaching mindfulness practices, so that all women experience this.
Think about it in relationships, Linda. Isn't it a beautiful, wonderful thing, just like in this moment right now, how we're fully present with each other and we're not worried about anything else that's going on around us or in the world? Think about how children feel when we get really present and we listen to them and be in the moment with them, how our friends feel, how our partners feel. That is just such a gift. And it's such a calming experience as people spend that time in their heart space with each other, transferring that love energy back and forth in that moment. That's the way that that you live a beautiful, fulfilling life. And it takes practice, Linda. We've become so wired that, sometimes it can feel a little scary or vulnerable to bring yourself back to the moment's awareness.
I love that you said it's a practice, right? It isn't something we've had one pattern most of our lives. And then it isn't like we can go, oh, now that I know about mindfulness, because I say your monkey brain, your inner critic, I call mine negative Nelly. it likes to hijack the show and like, oh, no, you don't, why don't we brush your teeth and start thinking about the list? It keeps bringing me back to what always was. So the practice helps us change established patterns.
Yeah. And, we become hyper aware because maybe things have happened in our lives that have trained us that, we have to really think a lot and have that busy brain to keep ourselves safe. And, the reality is that we can fully be in the present moment. It's just going to take a little bit of practice. And then we will retrain our brain to know that it is safe to be in the present moment. It's very safe.
That's beautiful. Now, in your teachings, you talk about the 5 cores of mindfulness. Could you give us a synopsis of those?
Yeah, for sure. So the 5 cores are really about observing. So think of yourself as the observer. I like to think of myself as looking at a situation and just having aha moments like, aha, wow, this is really out of control, and just recognizing, but not placing a judgment that this is bad or good, just recognizing, wow, okay. Um, describing can be when let's say you are outside and you have your cup of coffee and your mind starts wandering everywhere, then bring your attention to that cup of coffee and begin to describe it. Now, this cup is extra large, it's blue and tan, it has wonderful cream colored coffee in it, and begin to describe the process. I'm feeling warmth in my body now. I am hearing the birds. I feel a gentle breeze on my face. And, that's the part of describing. And then participating fully. Participating fully really is just about being fully in the experience with your mind, body, and soul, right? Just totally being immersed in that one moment experience so that you can feel it with all of your senses. Non-judgmental, that's the next one. We are so used to, and I think many of us from childhood have been trained to judge every situation, to judge, to give reasons why we do everything, and we really can just be in the moment and not judge it and just be curious about it, right? So, wow, I'm curious that, this person is behaving this way. And I'm observing it rather than placing a judgment on it. Because as you know, sometimes judgments just make us miserable, right? Judgments and expectations, right? And then focusing on one thing at a time. That takes a lot of practice, Linda. Sometimes we just need to focus on one thing so that, everything can be calm, our systems can calm down, and enjoy that one thing at a time instead of, scanning and, bringing too many things into the awareness. Yeah. So those are the things that busy women can start with as they begin to practice mindfulness and bring it into their daily experience.
I love those. It was so powerful. The one that spoke to me is observing, and then the focusing on one thing at a time has changed my life. So those 2 really jumped out for me. But I want to recap them real quick. So the 5 cores of mindfulness are observing, describing, participating fully, being non-judgmental, and focusing on one thing at a time. And I love what you said earlier. It's a practice, right? Observing was a big one for me because I came out of the negative Nelly internal chatter that ran the show for so many years. And I would picture the observer as my higher self above me going, oh, and it was almost like I started to build a relationship with that energy force instead of the negative Nelly that was running the show. So I love that observing, because that's how we can not go into self-judgment. If we're the observer, we're observing it from a higher perspective than our ego self. Have you found that yourself too?
It really takes the pressure off of us, Linda. We don't have to judge something and control it. We can just observe and just, have those aha moments. And it's very relaxing.
And I think too, especially as old thoughts and beliefs and patterns come up, when we observe and don't judge, we allow them to just continue passing on through. But a lot of times that negative Nelly, inner critic, the ego mind grabs on and begins a judgment and creates this whole big story, as we all know, which takes us out of the present moment. We're not here. We're
Yeah.
creating a story which adds to our stress, our unhappiness, our lack of joy.
Well, we are not our thoughts, and we know that now. And so, allowing the thoughts to flow through our mind and just say, hello, oh, hello, guilt, hello, fear, hello, shame, just allowing those emotions to come up and saying hello and observing and then letting them flow back on through is something that, takes a lot of practice too. And, we can, using mindfulness, we can raise our emotional intelligence as well to be able to handle, things that are very challenging in life without reacting, but rather responding.
And I think that's the key right there, because I think we all have been programmed to react.
Yeah.
And, and we've all done it in our own relationships or in various roles in life. It doesn't feel good when to the person we're reacting to, and it sure doesn't feel good to myself or to ourselves.
Yeah.
So
what's the saying? We can act in love or fear. Everything is love or fear, right? So when we're mindful and we can be the observer and we can respond, we can bring love to any situation to help de-escalate whatever is happening in the moment. But if we lose our anchor and our core, it's a lot harder and more challenging to do that. And that's what we really need to focus on, Linda. We're all moving into that space of bringing love into everything, that we are doing now and with everyone. And so
it's so important because it really matters. Just the simplest, when we're mindful and when we're present here, that act of love could be so simple, but the ripple effect is huge.
And remembering to love ourselves in this process too, not judging ourselves. It's not just about not judging what is going on that we're observing. It's really about not judging the self either. And that's super important. That's important in our healing process of loving ourselves and learning to love ourselves in the way that we really need to be.
I think that's critical. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because when I first started playing with mindfulness, guided meditations, all that, I would be listening and then my mind would go, it would stop listening and go on to my grocery list and everything for the week. And I would get so mad, like, oh my God, you can't even meditate. It was like the scolded child. And then as I become more aware of the observer voice, I just go, oh, there you go again, bring her back. Oops, there you go again. Like, that's my saying. So it's like, okay, that's normal for your thoughts to go, but the choice is yours to bring it back. So like, oops, there you go again became a lighthearted way to observe that my thoughts had wandered off and to call it back, because the choice is ours where our thoughts go. Because once you're aware of where your thoughts are, you have the power to change it. It's being in the moment of awareness, I think, is so important.
That's beautiful. Yes. And I like to interrupt those times that happen to me like that with a gratitude walk. And so when I just get scattered and I keep noticing that, my brain is hijacking my thoughts, I will go out into nature and I just go for a walk, maybe around the neighborhood. And I call this a gratitude walk because I'm going to focus on only what I'm grateful for. And some days it's really hard. As blessed as we all are, Linda, we know that there are just moments that, you have trouble figuring out what you're feeling grateful for. And you can start as simple as, I'm grateful that I have eyes right now to see. I'm grateful that I have feet to go on this walk. I'm grateful that I have a nose to smell the smells outside. Then you can begin, as you become more grateful and focus on that gratitude, you begin saying other things. And pretty soon, that little quarter mile or half mile walk is suddenly exploding with gratitude. And we're able to shift our state and our frequency at that point. And so we get to be creative with how we bring ourselves back to the present moment awareness and to gratitude. So I would just say, figure out the things that work best for you as you get connected with yourself and with source, and, keep practicing the mindfulness every day.
That one really resonates with me because, myself and Dana go for morning walks around the pond every day. Sometimes we never say a word to each other the whole 25 minutes. We're taking everything in, the sense of the flowers. We have a ritual. There's this huge boulder. It's probably chest high. We don't know why we started this, but whatever we did, we started something that now everyone's doing. So it's about 7 feet long. We started 2 years ago picking up finding white rocks, right? So on our walk, we're both mindful. Sometimes we chat, sometimes we don't. We pick up a white rock. So knowing when we get to the boulder, we intentionally place it at the top. So someday I'll take a photo. The rain knocks them down. But when I put the rock there, it's thank you for the blessings of my day. That's gratitude, right? Then
yes.
So when I go back the next day and the day after, I go, like, my soul is saying, look at all the blessings, because we've been putting rocks there nonstop. So sometimes rain comes and knocks them all down.
I love that.
But if I show you a photo right now, all sizes, there's probably 70, 80 rocks on there. Now that's my gratitude walking practice. And it didn't become that. It was just my soul was calling to be present. And like I said,
So
other
beautiful.
days we chat away. But that morning walk grounds us both and sets our spiritual intention for the day. It brings us into our body. So I love that you shared that, because there's no excuse. You could be at the office, take 10 minutes on your lunch break. You don't need a lot of time to do a gratitude walk. And that's what I heard. Whatever you need, wherever you are, just take a walk, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. It's just the presence is what I heard, the presence in the intention of your walk.
And, as people, we have the ability to reset ourselves, and, it's necessary. And so we need to be aware when, I liken it to the static on the radio station, right? When you're really connected with source, with your essence, when your nervous system is calm, that radio station is very clear. Whenever, you're not getting enough self-care, or things are really heavy in the environment, you start getting staticky, then you having that awareness allows you to do a reset. And that reset can happen in many different ways. But it's just the mindfulness of saying, oh, wow, my station is a little staticky. I need to do something to, regulate myself. And, whether that's jumping on the treadmill for 5 minutes, or whether that's going for a walk. Exercise is a great way for us to get, those wonderful hormones flowing and brain chemicals flowing. Or maybe it's just going and sitting down for a moment and focusing on one thing, right? Maybe it's doing a little floor exercise, or, everybody's different and unique. So whatever works the best for you to bring you back into, that state of clarity and clear mind, then, do that on a regular basis.
I think that's key to having a practice is start small, start where you are, stay in non-judgment, and give yourself that gift. I mean, that's how I started, because I was the most disconnected person 30 years ago. I was so in my head. I wasn't present in my own life. And I remember Dana and I started seeing each other was 29 years ago. We live on a beautiful pond, and we used to live at the other end of the pond. So you come down this winding dirt road, and suddenly it would open to the water. And one day we're coming down the road as we always did. And here's Linda with a face on a phone. And he says to me, because he's the most present man you'll ever know, he goes, "Do you even see any of this?" And I go, "What? What?" And he goes, "Everything around you. You need to
Wow.
be present in your own body." And I remember like looking at him like he had four heads. Like, what are you talking about? I was present. I was doing whatever I was doing on my phone. That was a wake-up call. And he's such a gift in my life. It's like now I can walk outside and see one leaf and be like, oh, right, like I can feel the leaf. I can smell the scent in the air. That was not me 30 years ago. I wasn't present in
Yeah.
my own life. So that's why I really wanted you to share on this topic.
It's like
My-
being childlike. If we can go back to that childlike curiosity and being in the moment, it's a gift.
Well, I got to say, thank you for just bringing this all into our awareness, sharing the 5 cores of mindfulness with women. And I want to invite everyone right next to the video. Cynthia has an amazing free gift that you are going to love. And it's called 7-piece Healing with Love meditation set. Now, I'm all about guided meditations. That's my way. So I have a hell of a collection because it's the way my mind loves to process. Bring me somewhere and I will follow. So you're going to receive, listen to this. First, a powerful energetic body scan, and then 6 supportive meditations on peaceful sleep, self-compassion, stress relief, trauma release, pain relief, and gratitude. Give yourself this gift. Click the button, claim your free gift, stay connected with Cynthia. She has beautiful Facebook group. She has programs and offerings coming, and she's such a light in this world. But don't just download these. Use them, my friends. Use them to be fully in the present moment. And Cynthia, I want to say thank you for joining me, for bringing this topic into all our awareness. We all need this, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Linda. It's such a joy, everything that we do together. I love it so much. And it's just a wonderful honor to be here.
Well, I feel the same way, my friend. And again, everyone, claim your 7-piece Healing with Love meditation set. Create space to nurture your inner world so that it can be reflected in your outer world. Blessings, everyone.